Over the last couple of weeks, since the tragic mass murder in South Carolina, I've been monitoring a couple of online forums that I participate in from time to time. I involve myself in these particular groups because when political discussions crop up, there are participants from both the left and the right. Sometimes they share their views passionately, but we get both sides of the argument. You see, contrary to many of the leftists in these groups, I still think of myself as a liberal. To me, the heart of being a liberal is to listen to and consider a wide range of views before forming my own opinion. Sadly, this may no longer be a current definition of a liberal. I find that many who proclaim themselves as liberal don't fit into that characterization at all. Woefully, many of the so-called progressive leftists seem to exhibit the classic symptoms of cult brainwashing. More about that later in this video. But first, let me give you a couple examples of the exchanges about guns and gun violence that followed in these that I followed in these two groups. Both forums included comments from conservatives that suggested the tragedy may have been lessened or avoided had someone in the church been armed. Liberals, of course, were appalled by this idea. And let me interject here. I, too, find the idea of taking a gun into a church service to be an awkward concept. The site of this particular tragedy, a house of worship, places a thorny element into this argument. But with that said, both of these forums expanded that conversation back to the several other mass shootings, such as the one in Aurora. There, in a Colorado movie theater, I couldn't agree more that just a single armed moviegoer could have saved lots of lives. If you research that Colorado situation yourself, you're going to find that that mentally disturbed assailant had enough wits about himself to drive past multiple theaters showing that exact same Batman movie. He bypassed them and chose the Century 16 movie theater because it had a no guns allowed policy posted clearly in the window. It's too bad that someone didn't ignore that policy and bring in a concealed weapon anyway. But I digress. In these forums, there were several predictable liberal responses. Both forums contained laments that Second Amendment supporters want to return to the Wild West. Typical liberal response. Has nothing to do with the subject. Sorry, my foggy thinking liberal friends, that just isn't true. I cannot imagine anyone who would wish to lead us back to an environment like the OK Corral. But it certainly does change the subject and get us off track, doesn't it? But let me ask you, my liberal friends, do you carry an umbrella in your car? I do. It isn't because I think it's going to rain. It's really a pretty nice day out here today. That's why I'm outside. I like the sunshine. The problem is I have no control over the weather. If it rains, then I'm glad that I was prepared by having an umbrella under my seat. It's just that simple, my liberal friends. It isn't that we want the Wild West, but we have no more control over the actions of crazies that choose to make a statement by ambushing and killing innocent people chosen because they're vulnerable. We have no more control over that than we have over the weather. It isn't that we want to go back to the Wild West. The point is that we live in the world as it exists. That is embracing reality. Try that sometimes. It may not be easy for you. You've ignored reality for so long that you might find it uncomfortable. But let's get away from that. In one of these forums, there was a couple of unhappy statements about armed citizens to the effect that this is why we are viewed the way we are around the world. Oh boy. How we are viewed by the rest of the world? Doesn't this sound like an insecure teenager who needs a certain brand of shoes because all the other kids wear them? And just exactly what other people in the rest of the world are you talking about? Are you talking about the tired, the poor, the huddled masses yearning to breathe free? The last time I checked, they would do just about anything legal or illegal, to have a chance to enter the land of the free and the home of the brave, guns or no guns. But now that I think about it, if they already had guns, perhaps they wouldn't be tired and poor. Perhaps they would already be breathing free. But again, I'm getting off topic. In one of the forums, someone mentioned that many years ago, his father held a position that necessitated him to carry a weapon. That individual stated that he was aware of more than one time when his father, just showing the gun, diffused a potentially dangerous situation. Now, the progressive leftist response to this was so telling. Let me read the exact response, and I quote, "Your dad's situation way back when is utterly irrelevant to today's madness." This seems to sum up the progressive leftist philosophy on just about everything, doesn't it? We have nothing to learn from people who lived years back. We certainly have nothing to learn from those primitive cultures of ancient times. You see, we have evolved. We are highly educated. We are the crown of creation. No, I didn't mean that. Pardon me. Of course, there was no creation. That's just a figure of speech. The point is, we are postmodern. We are enlightened. We are superior beings. The past could learn from us, not the other way around. You must put the past to rest and follow us into the New World Order. Yes, get in line behind us. Don't question what we say. We know better than you. Stop fighting us. You're just making yourself miserable. That point of view is exactly why it is impossible to engage in a debate a progressive leftist. They're not even listening to your opinion. You're obviously inferior. If you question them, you're showing your stupidity. They don't debate. They simply push their sick agenda. Their positions are extreme and obsessive regarding their socialist, communist dreams. They're excessive to the exclusion of any other practical consideration. Their neurotic support of their leaders is even more absurd. Whether it be Obama, the Clintons, Pelosi, Reid, or any of the other leftist elitists, the left can justify anything their leaders do, no matter how harsh or harmful or shameful. As I mentioned earlier, this type of behavior fits like a glove the classic symptoms of cult brainwashing. You don't believe me? Would you believe Dr. Phil? Check it out. Check out this website. Take a look at the symptoms and tell me I'm wrong about this. It explains a lot. It explains exactly why the blinded followers of the progressive left are not interested at all in a two-party system. Now you may be saying, this just can't be. If it were so, then freedom in America as we know it would be in serious trouble. I rest my case. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.